They say parents should give their children everything, but giving too much nearly cost me everything I had. I'm Mary, born in 1953 in Enugu, Nigeria. Back in 2022, when I turned 69, my son Daniel and his wife Ashley tried to take my house behind my back. I felt embarrassed, betrayed, and cornered, but then something happened. Today, at 72, I'm finally sharing this because some of you might be going through something similar. If you're listening, drop your city below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. It was supposed to be a simple birthday dinner with jollof rice, soft music, laughter, and family gathered around the table. I wore a soft blue dress Daniel had given me the previous year, and I even got my hair curled at the salon in town. Seated at the head of the table in my own dining room, I smiled at the faces around me. My only son Daniel sat to my left, his wife Ashley beside him, holding their 3-year-old daughter. I had cooked all day and was exhausted, but seeing my granddaughter's chubby fingers reach for Puff Puff made it worth it. But my smile didn't last long. As we finished dessert, Ashley stood up and tapped a fork against her wine glass. "We have an announcement," she said, grinning. Daniel looked at me, nervous but determined. "Mom," he said slowly, "Ashley and I have been talking. You know the house feels big for just you and we're expecting again." I blinked. "Expecting what?" "Another baby," Ashley said with a loud laugh. "So we've decided we're moving in here. Just makes sense. You have the space and we'll be close enough to help out. Plus, it'll save us rent." I thought I misheard. "You decided what?" Daniel nodded like it was already done. "We're moving in next month. Ashley's already made plans to convert your guest room into a nursery. And you didn't think to ask me first?" My voice cracked. Ashley raised her phone. "Look at this, it'll go viral. Nigerian grandma shocked by family news, just a little fun, Mummy Mary. Smile." She was recording. I stood up, stunned and shaking. "Turn that off, Ashley. This is my house." Ashley's expression changed. She stopped recording but didn't put the phone down. Daniel frowned. "Mom, why are you making this difficult? I'm your only son. It's natural. Family comes first." That night, after they left, I couldn't sleep. I sat in the living room until morning, staring at the family photos on the wall. I had worked for 30 years as a primary school teacher, saving every naira. After my husband died in 2004, I raised Daniel alone. I had bought this house myself. I tiled every floor, painted every wall, planted every hibiscus flower in the front yard. And now, they wanted to take it from me like I was a visitor in my own home. A week passed. Then 2. Daniel started showing up with boxes, just to prepare. Ashley came around with a measuring tape, humming while checking the windows. Something felt off. Too bold. Too fast. Then one afternoon, I received a call from a man at my bank. He politely asked to confirm some updates to my account details, updates I never made. Alarm bells went off. I asked for more information, and he mentioned something I hadn't thought of in years. A power of attorney I signed back in 2019 when I had surgery and Daniel needed to handle my bills. I called my lawyer, Mr. Agbana, immediately. He sounded alarmed. "Madam Mary, you need to revoke that document today. If your son is acting under that authority, he can move assets without your permission." "What if he's planning to declare me medically unfit?" I asked. There was silence. "It's not impossible," he finally said. "Especially if they're planning to take control of your property." I hung up the phone and felt my throat close up. I knew Ashley didn't like me much. She always said I was too traditional or too stubborn, but I never imagined Daniel would let her manipulate him like this. I looked around my home again. Every curtain, every clock, every photo I had touched it all with love. And now I felt like a tenant in my own house. Ashley returned the next day, uninvited, holding a glossy brochure with nursery designs. "We're thinking of lemon and mint green," she said casually. "Oh, and the contractor will come next week. Daniel already signed the quote." I smiled. It was the first time I smiled in days, because I had already made up my mind. I called Iris the next morning. She was a retired real estate agent and a friend from church. We had once gone on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem together. I explained everything, every insult, every visit, every phone call, and she didn't even let me finish. "I know someone who can handle a quick sale." Quietly. We met that evening. The plan was simple. I would sell the house under a pseudonym through Iris's trusted contact. We would list it discreetly, far from local eyes. Meanwhile, I'd act like nothing was happening. I also called Mr. Ogbonna and revoked Daniel's power of attorney immediately. He helped me draft a letter notifying the bank and freezing all changes to my assets. Ashley and Daniel kept coming. They never asked again, they just assumed. Daniel even brought a man one Saturday to inspect plumbing, and I served them zobo like a good host. All the while, my real valuables, my jewelry, my personal documents, my photo albums were already packed and hidden at Iris's house. I played the fool. I let them laugh. I let Ashley measure the nursery again. I let Daniel nod and say, "Don't worry, Mom. We'll take care of you." Let me tell you something. Nobody can pretend better than a woman protecting her last ounce of dignity. 2 weeks before closing, Daniel stormed into my house. He had found the listing. "What is this, Mom?" he shouted. "Are you selling the house?" I kept stirring my agusi soup. "I might. The place is too big for me." "But I'm your son." I turned slowly and looked him in the eye. "And this is my house." Ashley posted a video that night of me walking down my front steps with a box of clothes. She captioned it, "When your mother kicks you out while you're pregnant, pray for us." Thousands of likes, emojis, sympathy. I didn't respond, but I saw it. Oh, I saw everything. Then I got a call from Mr. Ogbonna again. "They're trying to file a motion," he said, "claiming you may be mentally unstable. They want to contest the sale." I laughed for the first time in weeks. Let them try. I moved out a week before the new owners arrived. My name was no longer on that property. Neither was Daniel's. I had transferred the funds to a separate, hidden account and closed the books on that chapter. I left them nothing. The cabin I moved into had 2 small but lovely 2-bedrooms, a quiet view of the lake, and neighbors who baked yam bread and left it at your door. I joined the women's group at the local church. I even started painting again. Daniel called once. I didn't answer. Ashley emailed a long message about forgiveness and family ties. I didn't read past the first line. With Mr. Ogbonna's help, I rewrote my will. Daniel and Ashley were removed. Everything I had, every naira, every belonging would now go to a foundation supporting elderly women who had no one to protect them. I didn't just take revenge. I took my power back. The cabin I settled into wasn't flashy or large, but it was mine. Surrounded by green hills and whispering winds, it sat peacefully by a small lake in Nsukka, a quiet escape from the noise and betrayal of Enugu City. There were no echoes of slamming doors, no unsolicited visits, no staged videos, just the sound of birds at dawn and the occasional knock from a neighbor offering warm garden vegetables. I didn't need much. I had my books, my sewing machine, a kettle, and the silence I'd longed for. But it wasn't just peace I had bought, it was protection. 2 months after I moved, I received a parcel in the mail. No sender name. Just my address scribbled in Daniel's handwriting. Inside was a framed photo of us, Daniel, and baby Emily taken during her first birthday. Tucked behind it was a note. We didn't mean for things to go this far. Please talk to me. Ashley's sorry too. Sorry. The same woman who filmed me in my own house without consent? The one who manipulated my son and turned my family dinner into public humiliation? The one who had the audacity to measure my hallway for a crib before even asking permission? I put the frame aside and poured myself tea. There was no going back. The thing about people like Daniel and Ashley is they don't want reconciliation. They want control. Their messages shifted over time. First, it was an apology. Then it was guilt. Then, it turned to threats. Ashley posted another video, this time crying. She's cutting off her own granddaughter, she sobbed. Who does that? Her followers sympathized. Some even sent messages to my church Facebook page. How can a mother do this? Shame on you, old woman. Blood is thicker than pride. But they didn't know the full story. They never do. What none of them knew was that I had documents. Proof. A recording of Daniel threatening to have me deemed incompetent. A video Ashley once accidentally recorded of herself saying, "Once she's out of the picture, we can do whatever we want with the house." I sent these quietly to my lawyer, and we stored them sealed just in case. I never wanted to destroy them. I only wanted to be left alone. But I wasn't foolish enough to believe they'd let go without a fight. The legal papers came 2 weeks later. Daniel was trying to contest the house sale. His claim? That I had been coerced into selling. That I wasn't mentally aware when I signed the documents. That I had been isolated by outsiders. It was laughable. We went to court once. Just once. I wore a simple navy dress and tied my scarf neatly. Daniel looked nervous in his blazer. Ashley wore white like it was a wedding, not a hearing. They brought Emily to sit in the gallery, a calculated move. But I stood my ground. When the judge asked why I sold the house, I said clearly, because it was mine, and I didn't feel safe in it anymore. When he asked if I had been pressured, I responded, only by the people who thought I was too old to say no. My lawyer submitted the revoked power of attorney, financial records, text message screenshots, and finally the video. The courtroom went quiet as Ashley's voice filled the room. Once she's out of the picture, we can do whatever we want with the house. The judge didn't even need time to decide. Case dismissed. I walked out of that courtroom with my chin high, not because I won, but because I had finally been heard. After the court loss, Daniel tried one last time. He came to my cabin without warning. I saw him from the window standing on my front step with slumped shoulders and a plastic bag in his hand. Inside was a small box of chin-chin and a letter. "Mom," he said softly when I opened the door, "can I just talk to you? Just 5 minutes." I hesitated. Something in his eyes looked familiar to the little boy who used to run through our hallway with jelly on his face. But then I remembered the man who signed contractor deals behind my back. "You had all the time in the world to talk," I said. "Now I'm listening with silence." I closed the door. I read his letter later. He spoke of stress, pressure from Ashley, how he didn't realize what he was doing until it was too late. He ended it with, "Emily keeps asking why Grandma doesn't visit anymore." That line almost broke me. Almost. But then I remembered what Iris said the day I finalized the sale. "You raised a man, not a mirror. What he reflects is his choice." And she was right. These days I live simply. I grow peppers and okra in the backyard. I volunteer at a local women's shelter on weekends, teaching the younger women how to budget, sew, and protect themselves legally and emotionally. I laugh more. I pray longer. And I never, ever leave my keys in the hands of someone who thinks love is owed. Last Christmas, I donated half of my savings to a community trust for elderly women estranged from their families. The rest will go there when I'm gone. My new will has been signed, sealed, and secured. Daniel and Ashley's names are nowhere to be found. And no, I don't regret a thing. Not cutting them off. Not selling the house. Not choosing myself. Because love doesn't ask for blind surrender. It asks for boundaries. They say mothers should sacrifice everything. But I say no one deserves to be sacrificed.
Moral lesson.
Never let guilt silence your instincts. Even those closest can betray you. Protect your peace, guard your property, and choose dignity over manipulation. If you've ever felt pressured by family, comment below. Like this story if it touched you. Share it to support women like Mary. Subscribe for more true stories every week on my channel.